Moneyline Makers, this money man here, and I got Mikey with me joining in this podcast today.
So, boys,
So today we're just going to do a quick recap, going over the first round, do a brief overview of the second round, who we think's going to make it on to the Eastern Conference Finals and the Western Conference Finals, and ultimately who we think's going to make it to the finals.
all right. So I guess we'll start off. Which game you want to recap first, my man?
Honestly, I would like to start with the Lakers. That was honestly the most surprising one to me. Is the Lakers one?
Yeah, they opened as I think the Rockets opened up as minus 900 favorites to win the series. Everyone was saying we'd get swept, losing 5, and then when we go up 3-0, they talking about we're gonna lose, be the first one to choke a 3-0 lead. What do you think about that?
Honestly, what surprised me the most, especially with Luka and AR down, was 41-year-old LeBron carrying the Lakers exactly like he was when he was 28 years old, carrying the Cavs. So that's what honestly surprised me the most. I didn't think he had it in him anymore.
Well, to be honest with you, I'd expected that from LeBron. I actually expected him to be a little bit better than he was. When people are saying 2018 Braun carried, it's not like he used to carry. Now it's more of just a mental carry. He knows where everyone is going to be on the floor. He's running the offense, running the point. But for me, what surprised me the most is I wasn't expecting Austin Reeves to actually come back in this series. If you look at the talk before the series, everyone was saying Luka, he might be back by the end of the series, and that Austin Reeves, he was going to have to hold out until the OKC series. So that really surprised me because now the narrative is flipped. Now they're saying Luka, he might not even be back for the OKC series this week, and Austin Reeves ended up coming back game 4. However, I am happy the Lakers did have Austin Reeves come back because, let's be honest, he looked a little bit rusty out there, but he has to shake off that rust for the next matchup against OKC.
I personally thought it would have been better just for him to sit it out until the OKC series because I don't know. You're right. When he joined in, he just looked extremely rusty, and LeBron ultimately had it handled. I think they could have took it down in 5 games instead of carrying it on to Game 6, and I think that would have been great resting for AR if he would have just held out until the next series.
Yeah, I agree. I think it actually kind of messed up the chemistry a little bit too. If you look how Marcus Smart and Luke Kennard are playing first 3 games without him returning, and then Austin Reeves. I love Austin Reeves. He's probably my top 3 favorite player in the NBA. But if you were really watching the games, he was, in my opinion, he was over dribbling way too much, and especially in Game 4, he had the offense very stagnant. Or Game 5, I mean. He came back Game 5 and 6. Yeah, the offense very stagnant, over dribbling, turning the ball over, just doing dumb stuff. I just hope looks like he was getting better in Game 6 towards the end. So I think hopefully he shook off all that rust and he'll be ready for this game.
Yeah, I agree. I think he was holding onto the ball too much. But I think that's what LeBron was doing great throughout the series. He was really facilitating. He was making sure people were getting open. He was really handling everything. I think ultimately he played this series really, really well and took down the Rockets. And we'll see what they can do against OKC. I honestly think that line's a little high. I think 16.5 is extremely high, especially with what we've seen with high totals in this whole first round. Ultimately, every time a total's high like that, you typically see the underdog covering and ultimately sometimes winning.
Yeah, I'll tell you one more thing that did surprise me about this series is coming into the series, I was very worried about how DeAndre Ayton would show up because, the Houston Rockets, they're one of the best rebounding teams in the last decade. So I was really worried about how he'd get exposed on the glass. But these last 2 games, I think he had 17 rebounds in Game 5, and I think he had like 15 in Game 6. If he can keep that up next round against OKC, I'll actually give the Lakers a shot. Given they do need Luka back for that series, in my opinion. But I don't know. We'll get to that more later on.
Definitely. I would say the next most surprising one past that was the Timberwolves. I thought they looked great, but the second Ant went down, I thought that series was going to be over, and they surprised me in Game 6 to ultimately take down the Nuggets.
Yeah, in that series, the game changer for me was Rudy Gobert. I mean, you just look at the defense he played on Jokic. I've never seen Jokic really shell up like that. I believe it was Game 3 at the end of the game. Everyone was talking about it, went viral on social media. Gobert was locking him up the whole game. He had a wide open floater at like the free throw line, and he ended up passing up at the end of the game because Rudy Gobert got in his head and he turned the ball over, and they ended up losing the game in a key position. I really just think Rudy Gobert is going to be a game changer even in this next series against Wemby. I don't know. We'll have to see how that pans out. He's taking that. Everyone be hating on his legacy, the 4-time Defense Player of the Year, and he wasn't taking that lightly. He was going hard out there.
I agree. Jokic did not look like himself throughout the whole series, and I think the Timberwolves will surprise some people in this upcoming series against the Spurs as well.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird with Jokic, I think, as well, too. If you really look at his three-point shooting numbers, every year in the playoffs, it's different. One year he beat 30%. I think the year they beat the Lakers and swept them, he was shooting like 50% from three. And basically, it looked like the Timberwolves strategy was, leave him open for three, don't let him drive in, post you up, make him shoot a jump shot, and he just couldn't hit those three-pointers. I think that was a major deciding factor in that game, along with Aaron Gordon being injured. He's really their only good defender aside of Cam Johnson in the starting lineup. So I think that really hurt them as well.
I agree. I think that was a huge factor to them losing that game 6 was not having Aaron Gordon. They just looked completely different. And honestly, the Timberwolves looked like they had that game from the start to finish. They looked like they had it.
Let's talk about Jaden McDaniels. What do you think about him doing that last-second layup in the game and pressing Jokic?
I thought it was hilarious, honestly. The game was already over, so Jokic to get mad like that, you need to just focus about the next game, not get mad about little tiny stuff, about someone hitting a basket. The game was over.
I mean, man, he's a dog, dude. He was in that post-game interview, too, talking about how they're all bad defenders. He backed up his talk game 6, dropped 32. Career high in the playoffs. Man, it's pretty exciting.
Definitely. What do you think about Ant coming back tonight?
I don't know, man. I mean, if you really look at last series, even when he was playing, he had that one game where he did really good, but you could even tell in that game that he was hobbling the entire time. He didn't really look like his true self, And the way he plays, he's such an explosive player. He's a great defender as well, and I think that knee could give him some problems.
Definitely. I agree. Ant's one of my favorite players, so it's tough seeing him rush back like this because I don't want to see anything worse happen or just him be a shell of himself and ultimately try to push it. But if he comes out there and looks great, then awesome, because I would love to see them advance to the next round.
Especially with a physical team like San Antonio, they're going to get up in your face and guard. I mean, they're one of the best defensive teams in the NBA, especially if he gets a Stephon Castle matchup. I don't know. He's pretty physical. I don't know how that knee's going to hold up. That's going to be interesting to watch tonight. Definitely.
And past that, I would say the next most surprising, honestly, series past that would be the 76ers versus Celtics. I honestly think the 76ers look like a completely different team with Joel Embiid. Second he came back, that whole series flipped, going from being down 3-1 to end up beating the Celtics. I thought it was awesome to watch.
Yeah. I totally agree there. As you know, I actually ended up picking the Celtics to win the series, but I'm not mad at the 76ers. I'm a Lakers fan, so I don't really like the Celtics like that, but I'm not mad at the 76ers winning, even though I did pick the Celtics. But, man, with Joel Embiid back, if he can stay healthy, they are a scary team. We're going to get more to that later. We're making our predictions later. They might be in the predictions.
I agree. But ultimately, I think the 76ers exposed the Celtics for who they were. They haven't been great offensively all year. They've been playing phenomenal defense, but then the second Joel Embiid came back, it's like they just didn't have an answer for him.
Yeah, also with the Celtics too, I think they might actually end up making some changes to how they run their offense after this year. Because let's be honest, they got exposed. They shoot way too many threes. I mean, I know Jason Tatum didn't play Game 7, but with Jason Tatum, a 6'9" forward that can drive, dribble, and shoot, why are you not driving to the basket? Jaylen Brown, why are you not driving to the basket? You're two of the best slashers in the game, and you guys are just sitting there spamming threes. I mean, Jason Tatum was averaging like probably 8 or 9 threes a game. Drive to the hoop, dude.
Definitely. And honestly, the way Peyton Pritchard played that whole series too, I don't know why he's coming off the bench.
Derek White did not have a very good showing either. He's been good for them in their last few playoff runs. However, this series was definitely not his. That's the thing. When you shoot too many threes like that, when you're shooting about 35 to 50 threes a game, you're going to be hot and cold. You're going to either going to blow them out or you might get blown out.
Definitely, definitely.
Just got to make your shots. But when you add the variance in of just driving to the basket, getting easier shots, better looks, I feel like it just make it a lot easier for them. I don't know. That's how they've been playing though, the last few years, just taking a bunch of threes. But I guess we'll see how their future looks.
Yeah, no, I agree. What do you think about the Pistons versus Magic series?
Okay, well, that was very shocking to me because, to be honest with you, I thought the Pistons were going to run away with the series. The reason for that being is when you looked at what happened when Cade Cunningham was out at the end of the regular season, their offense was still doing pretty good without him, considering that he is their best offensive player by a mile. You saw Dennis Jenkins coming in starting for Cade Cunningham, doing really good, but playoff time, he wasn't doing anything. Their offense, they couldn't score. The only one that was able to put up points was really Tobias Harris, game 7, and then Cade Cunningham the entire series. Cade was their entire offense. I wasn't expecting their offense to get shut down like it did. Jalen Duren was a no-show throughout the entire series. That was a shocker to me. I think he's an upcoming superstar. So I don't know. I think they're going to match up better with the Cavs. The Cavs are a little bit worse defensively than the Magic. I think they're just overall better matchup for the Cavs than they were for the Magic.
I would honestly say them taking it to a game 7 like that really surprised me because the Magics, they barely even made it to the playoffs. They made it in by the skin of their teeth when they had every opportunity to be the 7th seed, and they would have played the Celtics. So I was very surprised for them to take it to game 7. I honestly was even more surprised that they couldn't close it out, being up 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, going into the series, I was definitely thinking Pistons in 6. They ended up winning in 7, but I thought it was going to be a lot easier than it was. I was never expecting them to go down 3-1. And when they were down 3-1, I was still 50-50 on who's going to win the series, and I was heavily favoring the Pistons coming into the series. So, Now let's talk about the Knicks and the Hawks. What did you think about that matchup?
I think the Knicks had it from game 1. They just were the better team. A lot of people going into the playoffs thought the Hawks were a completely different team. A lot of people thought the Hawks had a chance to make it to the championship, but no, the Knicks took it and they ran with it.
Yeah, I think the most surprising thing for me this series was, I mean, the last game of the series was a blowout. That was one of the biggest blowout games we've ever seen in playoff history. Another thing that would surprise me of that series was I think the Knicks, they got to pass the ball to Karl-Anthony Towns a little bit. I think he needs to take more shots. I'd like to see him taking about 15 to 17 shots a game. Jalen Brunson, I just think he's taking a little bit too much shots, a little bit too much ISO ball. So I think they need to swing the rock to Cat a little bit. I don't know. What's your take on that?
I agree. I think Brunson, he needs to keep being the ball handler. Ultimately, score where he can. I do think Cat needs to be more involved. Cat is a phenomenal player. And then I think this is going to be a great matchup for them going into the semifinals as well.
I know we're doing our first round predictions after this, but give us a little preview. How do you think that matchup's going to go with Karl-Anthony Towns and Joel Embiid?
Sorry, brain fart here. You go ahead.
I'll go first. All right. Well, I think if Joel Embiid's healthy, I don't know. He's playing tonight, but man, that his knee bending backwards last game with 3 minutes left did not make me feel too. Just given his injury history as well, it doesn't make me feel too confident about him being healthy for all 7 games of the series. However, I think Joel Embiid. I know I was just talking about give Karl-Anthony Towns the ball more, but I think Joel Embiid's better.
I honestly I think they'll be okay. The 76ers have proved they can play with or without Joel Embiid. I definitely think that knee bending backwards like that was a little scary. But I honestly think they match up well against the Knicks. I personally, a little preview going into what we're going to talk about next, but I personally think that the 76ers might take this series and run with it.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. All right, so what else we got? We got OKC and the Suns. What do you think about that one?
Honestly, I thought it was what everyone thought it was going to happen. OKC was just a dominant team.